Happy Self Love Sunday, ladies. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that your journeys are going well. So, this week I want to talk about some things that took place last week, and I just kind of want to dive right into it. So, my personality, we have to start there, is kind of typical type A. Um, but for me, your word is everything, right? I believe that in this world, all you have is your name and your word, right? So if you say you're going to do something, do it. But I'm open enough that if you can't do it, because I understand this is life, it happens. Listen, I'm a mom of, who had 6 kids, five living now, two grandkids. I understand things can get hectic and crazy. So I'm open enough that if you can't do it, you can express that to me too, right? I do have enough understanding and empathy. I'm empathy, compassionate, understanding 101, right? That, I get it. I get that life happens, but you have to be able to communicate that. But if you don't keep your word, you're not consistent. It's like these character flaws, right? That drive me nuts. Um, I have a tendency to like, okay, here's how what I'll do. If it's bothering me, it took me, I will say this though, along this journey I've learned a lot, but and some things are easier for me than others. Certain conversations with people still bring me angst. However, because I know certain things bother me, like when someone doesn't keep their word, like when, they're not consistent, just not really like showing up right at their best. I think that's a great way to say it. I'll have a conversation because I know that that's gonna trigger something in me. Like if it keeps happening and I don't say anything, right, which we tend to do a lot, and it's the small things, right? So it's the little things that happen and we don't say anything about, and then one day we get into this situation and it blows the hell up, right? So me and my friend were having a discussion, and this was actually I think my birthday, and I was explaining, when you do this bothers me, okay, and how it really made me feel, because I think that's important to not just take the dialogue and put it like, you do this and you do that. No, but explain how it makes you feel. So when I express that something bothers me and it makes me feel a certain way, whether that feeling is anger, sadness, pain, disappointment, whatever that feeling is, because I think it's important to express, hey, listen, this hurts me, this bothers me, or this brings me anxiety. Once I've expressed that feeling to you and you say, okay, I got it. Now, here's the thing, do I expect that person to be perfect? No. I expect them to be human. However, if I just explain something to you and then you turn around the very next week and do it, okay, so let me tell you what happened. I blew up, right? It literally was like, listen, like, God damn it. I mean, I went off, right? And at first, after it happened, I was like, I felt some kind of way, but then I had to sit back for a moment. And this is why this video is important. And I had to say to myself, you're human. You are human. Now, yes, you're all going along this spiritual journey, and I believe that the self-love journey, the journey to loving yourself, is really truly a spiritual one. Tapping into your intuition, tapping into your inner being, tapping into your spirit, just working with the soul. All of that is a spiritual journey. You're not perfect either, and you are not spirit, right? Like, you're working on some things, and you're working to get better, and you're working to be better, and you're working to have better. However, on that journey, you're going to have some very real human experiences, and you cannot beat yourself up for them. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, once you are aware, because like we talked about a little bit last week, right? Once you are aware, then you can pull yourself back. So what I did was, once I became aware, like, okay, that's really not what I wanted to do. However, I'm going to be real honest today. I felt like, listen, don't take my kindness, my love, because I love my friends dearly. You know what I mean? If I am a person who will say that you're my friend And because, like, I love you, that's really real for me. Like, that's another level. So, I really love my friends. So it bothers me that if I express to you that something that's bothering me or hurting me as my friend, you would can continue to like hurt me. You know what? So I start to take that now I'm taking it personal, right? Let's go down that rabbit hole, because we're going to go down the rabbit hole of what the mind does. Now I'm taking it personal. Now I'm like, okay, well, you really don't care about how I feel. You really don't care what this would do to me. You just don't care. So if you don't care about how I feel, well, guess what? I'm not gonna care about how you feel, and I'm about to let you know what you not about to do. You got me effed up, right? That's the rabbit hole we go there. Then after the rabbit hole, after we've gone there, we come back and be like, oh man, I really, I'm trying to change. I really didn't want to be that. I really didn't want to say that. And it's like, like, listen, let me help you today. It's going to happen. You're going to have human experiences, especially when you feel like somebody is, like, got you twisted, or if somebody, you express something bothers you, something hurts you, and then you feel like they're intentionally hurting you. Now, let's be honest, right? If you truly know, this truly a person that's a friend, that's not their intention. But that's the other thing too. People get caught up in intention. And what I mean by that is like, oh, I'm a nice person. I'm a good person. Okay, you can be a good person and you can have good intentions. However, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, you are not consistent, you don't show up, you don't communicate effectively. Okay, that's great that you're a good person, you have good intentions, but what does that do for the other person? You see what I mean? Like, you have to be able to display and have conversation, right? Because everybody goes through things. We all have issues. We all have problems. And that's the biggest thing too. Sometimes I think with my friends, and it happens, right? Because I'm the coach. I'm the self-love coach. I'm the wellness coach, right? I am the person who people bring their problems to, and I help give them tools and tips to help filter through. So they think sometimes like, well, she got it all together. She's just fine. No, I'm still learning and growing just like everyone else. That means I have feelings and emotions just like everyone else. Now, granted, I've learned to recognize my triggers. I learned to catch things quickly. Prime example, me and my mom got into it because, me and my mother, oil and water child. Anyway, and during the mix of the phone conversation, I can feel my build up, and I just had to be like, you know what, you're right, and end it. Right? Because I can catch myself at times, right? But also, me and my mom had a conversation before that to say, hey, listen, when you do this, that hurts me. But I had that with my friend. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, listen, because I think it's important with all your friendships that you're honest in your friendship. That's how you keep friendships. I have friends that's been around for 20 something years. And the reason being is because we're able to express certain things to each other to say, hey, listen, that bothers me. Don't do that. Right. Or you know what, if you say you're going to do something, do it. And it's okay if you can't. Right. Because you don't owe me anything. I don't feel like anyone owes me anything. Right. But in this case, different. So I'm crazy. But anyway, I'm like, we're going to have these human experiences. And then I had to remind myself, hey, listen, you're human. You're going to have a human experience. Allow yourself some grace. Now is the time to allow yourself some grace, right? So what happens when allowing myself some grace is I'm not going to beat myself up over what happened. What I'm going to do is grow from that experience. That's all I can do. I can't go back. I can't change it. I can't fix what's said. Listen, the moment it leaves your lips, it's said. Okay. And I also talked about the best apology is change behavior. Now, right now, I'm not in an apologetic mood about it either. Let me just be honest with you, because that's still my human experience. Right? That's still my ego experience. This is my ego self. And that happens. That's why I'm doing this video, to let you know, like, your ego self is going to present itself, and it's going to protect. The ego self builds itself to kind of protect you, right? Especially if you've gone through a lot in your life. Like, I've gotten to this point of doing this loving journey, this healing journey, and wanting to be there for women, wanting to help them grow and learn because of all of what I've gone through. My journey has been deep, to get to this point. But I want you to understand that along this journey, you're going to have mishaps. You're going to have pitfalls. You're going to have very, very real and human experiences. And it is okay. After you've had that experience, what you want to do is go journal it out, because you want to recognize why it triggered you to the point that it triggered you, right? You want to now say, okay, you have to start to evaluate if this is consistent. If this person consistently does these things, is this a good person to have around you, right? Not that you shouldn't be triggered, because you want to be triggered, because that helps you dig deeper into yourself to know why and to heal whatever that is, right? It's a part of the healing journey. So sometimes people come in my life to mirror. That's a real thing. Come into my life to mirror, to smack me, to say, okay, well, you've healed all this. Look at you healing and stuff, you know. But guess what? There's still more work to do. Because my life can get very comfortable and complacent, because I'm okay with being by myself. As a matter of fact, most times I'm alone. I'm by myself in my own comfortable, loving, peaceful environment. So sometimes, spirit comes on and say, let's shake this up a little bit, okay? Because you're a little too comfortable and there's still some more work to do. So I realize that. So then you have to make a choice, right? If this continues to happen, if you really want to have this person in your life, if they realize what they've done and what they're doing, and they are growing and on their healing journey, and they come back to you and you guys have a conversation and you decide to keep growing as friends, then do that. But if not, if you feel like that's not really it, if you feel like your intuition is telling you something different, then you have to walk along. You know what I mean? So I think that it's important to understand who, what, where, why, and how. Right? Remember, if you're around the 40s, you learned that in school, right? Write this stuff out. Give yourself grace. Along your spiritual healing, loving journey to loving every bit of who you are, you're gonna have these moments. Give yourself grace. Okay? If you are at a point where you really, really want to learn all the tips and tools, because I can't possibly give it to you every Sunday in these videos, I would give myself away as much as possible, but I can't, because, we don't have that long in these videos every Sunday. But you can reach out to me at moesassfitness at gmail.com, MOESASS, all is in Sam, at gmail.com. Moe Sass Fitness LLC on Facebook and Instagram. Reach out. Let's talk. Let's walk through it. Let's walk through, because here's the thing. The answer to everything that ails and angst you is within you. It's all about loving and healing and growing yourself. Trust me, I've done everything else. And this is the only path that has taken me to a place of peace and joy and love and just a feeling of, right? Things that used to bother me and beat me up before, we don't do that no more. We grow and we heal and we learn and we understand that that's what life is. And to be honest with you, I know that's the same for other people too. So if we have a conversation, we can work through it, right? But some people just are not self-aware. And that's why loving yourself is important, because then you can recognize things with other people as well. So you can create the boundaries. So you can know who's good to have around you and who's not so good to have in your life. That's what learning yourself and loving yourself is all about. So let's get there. Reach out to me. Okay, again, moesassfitness at gmail.com. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. I will talk to you next week.